It's happening again, right now. In the frozen darkness beyond the orbit of Mars, our third interstellar visitor is deliberately breaking the rules of physics. And this time, we have a front-row seat. The object, designated 3I/Atlas, has just triggered its 12th anomaly. A 12th impossibility that has sent a shockwave of disbelief through the global astronomical community. The one man who spent years predicting this, Harvard's Professor Avi Loeb, is reportedly stunned into silence because the theory he dared to whisper about our first visitor, Oumuamua, is no longer a whisper. With 3I/Atlas, that theory has become a scream roaring at us from the void. This isn't just a rock. This is a test, an intelligence test. And all evidence suggests we are failing. This is the third time our solar system has been breached. For millennia, we floated on our pale blue dot, secure in our isolation. The first breach in 2017 shattered that peace. It was a bizarre, cigar-shaped object named Oumuamua, tumbling end over end, moving so fast our sun's gravity was merely a suggestion. It showed no tail, no coma of gas like a comet, yet it accelerated away from the sun, pushed by an invisible force. Avi Loeb proposed his now infamous theory. It was a piece of alien technology, a solar sail. The scientific establishment reacted with scorn, calling him a heretic. Then Oumuamua vanished, leaving only debate and questions. 2 years later, a second visitor, 2I Borisov, arrived. This one was a comfort. It looked and acted exactly like a comet. Borisov was the cosmic sigh of relief that let the establishment feel vindicated. Oumuamua was the fluke. Borisov was the rule. We were safe. We were alone. But that comfort was a lie, because the third visitor is here, and it has proven that Oumuamua wasn't the fluke. It was the precedent. Discovered in early 2023, 3I/Atlas was initially a faint smudge, another icy wanderer. For a while, it seemed normal. But the more we watched, the less sense it made. The anomalies began subtly. Anomaly number 1, a tiny deviation in its path. It was being pushed by a force other than gravity. The official explanation was swift and comfortable. Outgassing. Jets of vaporizing ice, like tiny rocket thrusters, pushing it off course. This happens with comets. It was plausible. It was a neat and tidy box for the data. But it was only the beginning. Then came anomaly number 2. The object began to brighten, not in a steady way as it approached the sun, but in sharp, rhythmic pulses of light. Again, scientists offered a simple answer. The object was tumbling, reflecting sunlight off a flat, icy surface, a cosmic disco ball. Nothing to see here. Yet the rhythm was too stable for a chaotic tumble. A seed of doubt sprouted. What if it wasn't tumbling? What if it was turning? Anomaly number 3 seemed to silence the skeptics. In late 2023, under the sun's stress, 3I/Atlas fractured. It broke into 2 pieces, a common fate for comets. The case seemed closed. It was just a fragile walk after all. But then came the fourth and most blatant anomaly. The 2 pieces didn't drift apart as orbital mechanics dictate they should. They maintained a precise, stable formation. They were flying in tandem, separated by thousands of kilometers, yet perfectly synchronized. This was not the behavior of dead, chaotic fragments. This was formation flying. The official explanations grew more strained, invoking bizarre theories of tidal locking, theories so complex they felt less like science and more like an excuse. As 3I/Atlas raced closer, the comfortable explanations began to shatter. The anomalies started cascading, each more impossible than the last. Anomaly 5 was a direct violation of thermodynamics. As the object flew toward the immense heat of our sun, telemetry showed its surface temperature was dropping. It was getting colder, as if an internal mechanism was actively pumping heat away. Anomaly 6 was auditory in a sense. A burst of radio waves erupted from its location. The event was dismissed as a chance solar flare, but the signal was too clean, too structured. Natural radio signals are noisy. This was a narrowband signal with a signal-to-noise ratio that looked disturbingly artificial. It was like hearing a pure note in the middle of a hurricane. Then came the final blows to the comet theory. Anomalies 7, 8, and 9 were spectral. An object's light gives us its chemical fingerprint. We expected water ice and carbon. Instead, the data was an impossibility. It showed traces of heavy, processed elements, isotopes of tungsten and molybdenum in ratios that can only be achieved inside a high-energy reactor. It showed evidence of complex polymers that do not form in nature. The light from the object was not the fingerprint of a rock. It was the material manifest of a factory. To believe it was a comet, you had to believe in a dozen separate miracles. But Occam's razor, the principle that the simplest explanation is best, offered a single, terrifying alternative that fit every single anomaly perfectly. It is not a comet, it is a machine.
By Anomaly 10, the unease in observatories turned to dread. The two main fragments, still in perfect formation, began to change their light pulses. They were no longer pulsing in unison. They were communicating, a call and response of light, flashing back and forth. One fragment would flash 3 times, the other would wait exactly 7.3 seconds, then flash twice. A pattern, a language. The 11th anomaly was even more terrifying. A third, smaller object was detected, moving away from the main pair. It hadn't broken off, it was deployed. It maneuvered with a velocity that defied any natural explanation. It was a probe. The whispers were now a roar. Loeb wasn't crazy, he was prophetic. And then, just hours ago, the 12th anomaly hit. It broke everything, the models, the theories, the lies. For 48 hours, 3I ATA went dark. It stopped pulsing, stopped reflecting. It vanished. Panic set in. Had it disintegrated? But then the signal returned, and it was no longer a pulse of light. Anomaly 12 was a broadcast. For 17 minutes, 3I ATA emitted a complex wideband transmission aimed directly at Earth, a data-rich signal that swept across our planet like a searchlight. And what it contained has left people like Avi Loeb, who dreamed of this day, utterly paralyzed with shock. Because the signal wasn't alien. Not entirely. It contained a perfect, lossless digital copy of the Arecibo message, the infographic about our species and planet that humanity broadcast into space in 1974. A message in a bottle. 3I ATA just threw it back. This changes everything. This is no longer a question of natural versus artificial. This is a statement, a response. The preceding 11 anomalies snap into focus. They weren't random events, they were a performance. The acceleration was a course correction. The brightening was a signal flare. The fracture was the revealing of its true multi-part nature. The formation flying was a demonstration of capability. The entire journey was a carefully orchestrated arrival to see if we were paying attention. And now it has spoken. By repeating the Arecibo message, it has confirmed it knows who we are, where we are, and that we are looking. But the Arecibo message was sent towards star cluster M13, 25,000 light-years away. It has traveled less than 50 light-years in the 50 years since we sent it. 3I ATA came from the direction of the constellation Carina, a completely different part of the sky. It did not originate from where we sent our message. The chilling, unavoidable answer is that our message was intercepted. Someone or something is patrolling the space between stars. They found our primitive shout into the dark, and they have now hand-delivered a reply. The shock that has paralyzed the scientific community is this. The 12th anomaly wasn't just our message. There was something else. Embedded within the signal, a tiny packet of data attached to the very end of our own broadcast. A reply, an addition, a signature. Right now, the world's best cryptographers, from SETI to the NSA, are working around the clock in a desperate race to decipher it. As they work, astronomers have noted one final terrifying change. 3I ATA has subtly altered its course once more. Its new trajectory is no longer a simple escape from our solar system. The telemetry is unmistakable. Its velocity is decreasing. Its path is bending into a slow, deliberate arc, an orbit. It isn't leaving, it's staying. The visitor has decided to move in. The 12 anomalies were just the prelude, the first act of a play we are now all a part of. Avi Loeb is shocked not because he was right, but because he may have been catastrophically wrong. He thought Oumuamua was a passive scout, but this is not a scout. It is an emissary, and it has just answered our knock on the universe's door. The question is no longer, are we alone? The only question that matters now is, what's in their reply? An invitation? A mathematical proof? Or is it an invoice?